everybody, my name is Jaylin Jones. I'm here with meteorologist Kat Campbell. We are outdoors and we're both suffering a little bit. Why are we both suffering?
We are sneezing and wheezing our way through pollen season today. It's the first time all season that the pollen count has been very high. So your Monday morning number, drum roll please, is 1,500 grains per cubic meter. And it's probably going to get worse. The average peak per season, at least in recent years, has been over 2,000. We're not there yet.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So honestly, my eyes are watering and I'm sneezing. It's a little bit hot. Is the heat affecting this pollen season? We talked a little bit how the pollen season is getting longer and it's getting more and increasing. What is the reason for this?
Well, yeah, it's the numbers. I mean, really, when you dive into the climatology, growing season is getting longer because of the warmer temperatures that we're experiencing. We've already broken 3 record highs so far this March, just March. And we may have another one coming up this upcoming Friday, to put that into perspective. So it's been really warm. And we're also seeing more of these warm days in the 80s in February. So that's helping to extend the season. On top of that, we're seeing these stretches of really warm weather. You know, we see a lot of ups and downs throughout the spring in North Carolina, but we're getting some steadier stretches of pretty hot temperatures around North Carolina. And I actually spoke to the experts. This is something that I personally did not know, but I asked them about. Is it worse? Do you get a higher pollen count if you have, say, 5 days in a row of warm weather straight? Or do you get a higher pollen count if you go from, you know, a cold day to a really huge spike in temperatures into, say, the upper 80s? What's going to produce a higher number? And you'll find out the answer to that on WRAL News, on the story on WRAL.com. I want to let the experts explain it. They do a better job than I do. We talked to the head of horticulture at the NC State Arboretum, the JC Arboretum there, and then we also spoke to the Department of Environmental Quality about this.
Wow, I can't wait. At 6 o'clock, tune in tonight. Also, we're going to post that full video on YouTube, also on .com. Wherever you get WRAL, you're going to find this information as well. Talk to me a little bit about the difference. We got grass, we got trees. What is the timeline that we should be expecting now? Because I need relief.
Yeah, we've got a little ways to go. The average peak of tree pollen season is either the last week of March or the first week of April, typically speaking. And then we start to see the numbers going down after the midpoint of April. However, I would say the numbers are pretty high and elevated throughout the entirety of April. So when you get to May, if you suffer from seasonal allergies in terms of tree pollen, you may be able to breathe a little easier. The problem is boom, right on tree pollen's back comes grass pollen, and that usually peaks in May. And that one isn't quite as long of a season, but I would say pretty much throughout the whole month of May, we're dealing with grass pollen, sometimes into early June. And then the worst of the weed pollen is ragweed, and that comes in the fall.
Okay, talk to me. What is the pollen that we're seeing? I see the green on the surfaces. We're in the garden and I see green on the pathway. And that yellow, is that a specific type of pollen? What type of pollen's in the air?
You know, they should really rename the Crayola crayon, that's the yellow green, to just pollen. It's the perfect way, it's the perfect color indicator there. It's pine pollen. And pine pollen is something that you may not be quite as allergic to because the particles are larger and that's why they're so visible everywhere. However, think of them almost like dust in the air. They're large, they irritate you. Even if you aren't allergic to them per se, they're still going to irritate your lungs and your eyes and everything like that. But me personally, I have suffered from seasonal allergies since 4th grade. I remember, growing up in Winston-Salem, I knew when it hit, and springs were never the same for me since then. Oak pollen is what personally gets me so bad. I know when I've talked to people about this online, you know, oak pollen's one, but every kind of tree is going to try to reproduce, so they're going to produce some pollen. So we've got elm, juniper, maple, cedar, cypress, you name it, we've got it. That's the cost of living in such a beautiful state.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we need the trees, we need the plants, and we got to suffer. I heard a conspiracy theory. Male trees and female trees produce the pollen, and that's why we have so much people are planting the male trees. Is that true? So
I went to Myth Bust with NC State professor, an arborist, and you're going to hear from him tonight in our story. We didn't have time to include this, but I think it's really interesting because I had heard that as well. He said the myth is busted. It's just a myth there.
Okay.
And the reason why is because most of the trees that you see near us, they have both male and female elements. So they're not easily separated into just male and female and things like that.
Wow,
So,
wow,
yeah.
wow. Well, I'm learning a lot.
We can't blame botanical sexism in the boy trees
Oh,
for
man.
all of our, I mean, to some degree, but you know, it is what it is. There's nothing that could prevent this really for us.
Absolutely. It's the CO2, am I correct?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because that compounds the effects of the pollen. So plants, you know, as it gets warmer, basic climate change 101, that's the greenhouse gas, CO2. It's trapping in the heat. So the plants are then, it's getting warmer faster. It's also just getting warmer in general. So yeah, they're producing their pollen earlier, longer. On top of that, plants really love CO2 and they kind of take it in. So that just makes the problem even worse.
Absolutely.
And as I'm saying this, I'm holding in a sneeze quite literally right now, talking to you out here.
Well, I am so sorry. We're going to wrap this up really quick. Is there anything else missing on your reporting that didn't make it to the TV package?
I mean, we're going to just dive into everything that we can fit in there. And if you have any remaining questions, ask them. This is something that I am passionate about in a way that I passionately hate pollen, but understand its value to society and the world that we live in. And so I'm very familiar with the data behind it, and the Southeast Regional Climate Center does a great job maintaining the database for pollen and everything. So if you've still got any questions, I'm happy to try to help you out and help answer it for you. Hang in there. We got this. We got a few more weeks to go, so just pray for rain.